what's
But
interesting too about this list is the callback to the original breakfast list with Cauldra as a secondary win condition. Because I remember after a while, people realized Cauldra wasn't that good, and they were on staff of the Storyteller. But now with the inception of Orcish Bowmasters, we've really seen this shift away in the deck from the staff of the Storyteller back into the Cauldra beatdown plan. Now, notably, Stoneforge can also just grab a quick little Shuko in a pinch, but generally speaking, you're running that card so you can run this Cauldra.
yeah,
Because you can really operate like a pretty good control deck even without the package. Also, Nomads and Core. Let me read Nomad. I want to check something. Okay. Um, Never mind. I was saying, can Nomads and Core target an opponent technically, but it can't.
for what reason?
Committing a crime.
No, that would be really good.
Yeah.
Okay, Michael Darby starts on the play. It looks like they both kept 7, and he
What
leads
is
on.
that planes?
I think the whole deck is proxies, so I think it's just
Oh,
a
I see.
full art
What is that card that we just played? Is that Nomads?
Nomads Encore.
That art looks different.
It's proxied all
Oh,
white.
I see. Suspend Crashing Footfalls. Go.
So notably, we could win right now.
We could win right now, but no blue source means we cannot cast Cephalid Illusionist.
That's always the benefit of breakfast is you kind of just sometimes just jam on turn 2
Just
pretty
swimming,
easily.
yeah.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, the combo is if you read Cephalid Illusionist and then you read Nomads and Core or Shuko, you basically target yourself, mill your whole deck, and then once your deck is gone, you have Narcomoebas, and with those Narcomoebas, you can Cabal Therapy, say Force of Will, get rid of their counter magic. Then with the rest of your creature suite, Dread Return, a Thassa's Oracle with 0 cards left in the deck, and the game is over.
It makes a lot of sense to get Cauldron here, forces the Stoneforge to be a major threat. You already have Nomads. Urza Saga can get the Shuko. You really don't have any other targets from this Urza Saga, so
Notably, there are a lot of ways for this deck to handle a Cauldron, though. Most notably, you can just Crazy B. You can also you can honestly have won a lot of games off runs off the back of just tap down your creatures. Just keep tapping off of ice, but
Carey suspends the second footfalls here. How do you feel about that?
this is the expected outcome. Because now the problem with now this is after the third one, oh, you have so many dead cards. Because Violent Outburst and Shardless Agent are just dead cards now.
Yeah.
But it also says, here's my clock. You're dead in 6 turns. Which is a lot of turns. Anyway, bring in a Cauldra. Cauldra says you're dead in 4 turns. So right now the clock is faster on the side of breakfast.
Deal 6.
Notably, Phyrexian Germ Token is Phyrexian. Even though in the original Batterskull printing, it just says Germ. Fun little fact. They did errata that. That's why the original new Phyrexian tokens just say Germ and not Phyrexian Germ.
Yeah, didn't they add the Phyrexian type as a type semi recently? Because I remember that and not been around that long.
I believe so.
Yeah, because you can cover it in infect
Because I think
theoretically.
they changed it when they redid. Because all the infect creatures are now technically Phyrexian, right?
Yeah. I think, yeah, when they printed the new toxic creatures. That's when they changed it. Yeah, there are 3 Brazen Borrowers, 2
Three.
Fire Ice.
Yep.
As the
The problem with Rhinos, you also have literally 0 card selection. So you have no.
what did we just fetch out of the battlefield? I feel like
All right, I'm wrong. I've been got. You are technically correct. The best kind of correct. He kept it on top. Is that Brazy B? Because you can't actually fight this Cauldra in combat. Because the text on Cauldra says whenever this creature would deal damage, you exile that creature instead of killing it. Also, it says indestructible, haste. trample.
It's basically unbeatable.
Yeah. Yep, that's correct. Except for Swords of Plowshares. Prismatic Ending. Brazen Borrower. Leyline
And the
Binder.
old hammer mirrors, Cauldras would be weird against each other. That was always
Activate
fun.
Shadow Spear, kill your guy. The old hidden mode of Shadow Spear. Creatures lose indestructible until end of turn for 1 mana. It's come up
Yeah.
in my dreams. I've never actually had it come up in person, which is like really sad because I've always wanted to get someone like that. Anyway, Brainstorm.
I think if you're Michael here, you have check on board. Likely you're not gonna win the board race here if the call draw gets answered. So I'm probably just trying to put the combo together.
Swing for 7. And we took 5 already from Caldy. So, yep, we're at 7 total to be fetched. Or 5, yeah. Okay, next turn we have Rhinos. The turn after that we have Rhinos, but we're already dead by then. You can't really double block.
Oh.
We scoop it up. Makes
The
sense. Double suspend Rhinos is generally not what you want to be doing with the Rhinos deck. Contrary to the deck name. You do not actually want to play Rhinos by playing Rhinos.
You don't want to play fair, really?
No, definitely not. What I want to do is cast my Safari Agent and get my Rhinos out of Botswana and onto the battlefield.
Is it possible that Carey kept a hand with 2 crashing footfalls in hand? Or do you think he may have just top decked the second one?
I would bet there was a top deck, but I've also kept some dicey hands if I had like a lot of permission and good mana. But it's also really hard to have a lot of permission and good mana with only 5 cards left.
Mm-hmm.
Like if your hand is like land, rhinos, force of will, blue card, fire and ice. Yeah, it's like fine. You're really sad. Like it's not great. Like it's like on the verge of greatness, but it's just falls so short. But it's like good enough that it's like whatever. But a Rhinos is also really good at mulliganing. You don't really need that many pieces. Frequently, 1 Rhinos with 1 force of will and maybe another piece of interaction is generally good enough. And especially against a deck like Breakfast that has quite literally 0 removal spells in the main deck. Because they're off of swords now, right? The list that we're looking at doesn't actually have swords in it. Can we check?
We have 4 Source of Plowshares in the main.
Oh, we do have 4 swords. I didn't see them in the main.
2
Okay,
Fosters.
I lied.
I think out of the Breakfast sideboard, we have 1 Brazen Borrower, 2 Fluster Storms, 3 Force Negations, 1 Lavinia, 1 Pithy Needle, 2 Prismatic Ending, 2 Serenity, a Soul Guide Lantern, 2 Surges. Seems like they have a lot of good.
I got confused because a lot of the recent Breakfast lists are actually putting their removal in the sideboard. That's what I've noticed. I didn't realize that was in the main
definitely
deck.
have historically, but I'm not as up to date on
I haven't.
Modern Bowmaster list.
Yeah.
Once Bowmaster came out, my interest in Breakfast
diminished significantly. Let's take a look at the Rhino sideboard. There's a lot you can do with this sideboard. A lot of cool stuff. You got Blood Moon. It's like fine. How many basics are in Esper? Or not Esper. Yeah, I guess it is Esper. Esper Breakfast.
A plains and 2 islands.
Okay, that's actually a lot. So maybe we don't bring in the moons. Granted, we do stop Saga. We have Mystical Dispute that's probably coming in. I'd probably bring in Magus the Moon. I wouldn't bring in Blood Moon. I would probably not bring in Leyline of the Void, but I would. Yeah, you don't need to. I think you've got enough permission and ways to kill it because you have Fire and Ice. That's like a pretty easy way to kill that. You have Brazen Bar. You have 4 Force of Will, 4 Force of Negation. Force of Vigor kind of works in a pinch too. Obviously, if they have the nuts of Nomads and Core and then Breakfast, Nomads and Core and then Cephalid Illusionist. Okay, Cephalid. The Breakfast and sorry, The combo of Nomads and Core into Cephalid Illusionist. You obviously cannot force a negation that, in which case you will be stuck between a rock and a hard place as you watch them mill out the entirety of their deck.
Yeah, I just figured Leyline in the Void in particular is good because it kind of shuts off their combo.
It does. But frequently, like we saw that last game, the combo was not relevant.
Yeah, I would just
They're a deck with
say,
two Teferi. Like Teferi is not what you want to play against those
yeah.
Rhinos. I could promise that.
Um, we have had Roland on screen. If he wins,
We'll put them on next for
it's
the fans.
likely. We do have some other decks we haven't seen play yet, actually. So we'll just have to see.
The let's see.
Land pass. We haven't seen any of these explosive hands out of
No,
Rhinos.
we haven't seen the beauty of they go turn one chalice on zero. You go Spirit Guide, Spirit Guide, Spirit Guide, Violent Outburst.
Just saying, when we play tested for Eternal Weekend, you were cascading on one or two 100% of the games.
Look, that's how the deck is supposed to work. We're just getting unlucky on the Carey Banyas side. Although I'm kind of like that. That whole deck is so sweet. I love Rhinos. It's such a sweet deck. You got eight. You got eight combos. You got eight one card combos and eight free counter spells. Like, how can this deck be bad?
Meticulous Archive, deciding if we want to keep this Narcomoeba. Oh, we will mill the Narcomoeba.
Oh,
We will put
a
the
Narcomoeba.
value.
Wow, Surveil Land so broken. Look at this. Here are the best Rhino token. One which is drawn by. All right, well, we got to see the Rhino
Yeah, we
tokens.
didn't actually see them on screen, so hopefully that changes this match.
Come in for one. We're on a 19 turn clock right here, team.
There's no better feeling than milling that Narcomoeba as well because it's just the worst draw on your deck by a wide margin.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
There it is. Violent Outburst. Are we going to see?
what do you think he's gonna cascade into?
I'd be surprised if we saw anything but Crashing Footfalls.
Huh?
We're doing it upside down, which is interesting. This is giving me a headache a little
This is
bit.
a real
This is the sign of a professional cascader.
a courtesy move, yeah. So that way your opponent can actually see the cards. Nothing upsets me more than my opponent does it really fast into their hand and then tries to put it under the deck before I get a chance to look at it. We do have Blood Moon in.
We do have Blood Moon. There it
Oh,
is. We saw half the deck.
anything else out of the sideboard you're surprised by?
Force of Vigors makes sense. Blood Moon, I'm a little surprised by. I probably wouldn't have brought. I would have brought in Magus. I wouldn't have brought in Blood Moon. Just because they can play around it pretty well already, and like you don't want that much hate for Urza Saga because then it just sits dead in your hand, and they don't frequently need Urza Saga. Like they can just draw out of it pretty easily, considering they've got a 2 card combo. Um, but yeah. Anyway, here's some Rhinos. Rhinos in a can, 8 damage, 8 power.
Oh,
Beautiful Rhino token.
drawn by his son.
Drawn by his son. Incredible.
I do love how they made all those day-night tokens for people to draw on. I think they're fantastic.
I need to get some. I need to get some cool tokens. I have cool Rhino tokens, but that's about it. And I have a cool Boo token. Oh,
What do you
now
think?
we're getting the start.
What do you think this is cascading into?
I think we're gonna see another can of
Oh,
Rhinos. Oh, there it is. Brazy B on top though. It's going to the bottom.
didn't take as long on
And
that
there's
one.
also a Scalding Tarn in play, so we don't need to be thinking that we're safe from this Brazy B.
Yeah, so out of the side of Michael Darby, we don't really have any great answers to 4 tokens. It looks like we kind of handle them on a 1-to-1 basis with a bunch of different cards,
Yep.
but seems more likely we're gonna have to maybe take this game out of the damage race and into the combo race.
We're firmly in the combo race portion of this, I believe. The ability for to play the fair game against 12 power, 16 power is pretty brutal. Is that a Tundra?
I believe so. Tundra Meticulous Archive.
It's black and white, right? I'm not going blind.
Yep, no,
Okay.
it's just proxied all everything's whitewashed basically because it's been printed.
Yeah.
This is you get better at it if you played a few BCDLs, has been my experience. Ooh, we're fetching.
There's Cephalid Illusionist. There's Nomads and Core. Do we lose?
We have two cards in Carey's hand.
Yeah, but if that's
Mystical.
oh, Mystical Dispute.
Oh, and we just pack it up.
And we pack it up.
Yeah, there's no dazes on the side of Darby.
Wait,
This sort of
really?
thing. Nope, just for
Oh,
Force of
so
Will.
that's what we're putting
Oh,
instead of the swords. I mean, that's why we're having the swords because we don't have any dazes.
yeah, the two Orms chant I think is a little bit better with how the metagame is than dazes.
I got to match me. It'll be rolls perfect. Oh, also, Rob, do we is this open deck list in top eight? Because that actually I think changes a lot of the thinking here. Like for instance, if you're the Rhinos players, you know they don't have days. You're much more down to just jam. Like you don't really need to think about it because if they're going to counter it with the Forcible, you're like, yeah, I'm okay with that. But if you know they have days, then all of a sudden you're playing a much different game, specifically for Rhinos, and I'm sure for other decks too. Because like I know if I'm playing against Delver, like I know they have days. I'm playing very conservatively. And I believe we are now going to game three.
Yep. Game three, Michael's going to get to play. We'll see if we can get an explosive Rhino start or if we can get an actual combo out of breakfast on this one.
We haven't seen the breakfast combo eat its breakfast yet. It's kind of been waffling and drinking its coffee and orange juice for too long. So we're gonna see if the meal actually gets here. Do you remember the other cereal names? Remember Oops All Spell? Well, that's still a deck. But do you remember Cheerios with that zero mana kobold? What was it called? Why was it? It was the zero mana
Kobolds of Carol Keep.
kobold. Was that what it was called? The zero mana kobold for Cheerios because everything was zero mana.
Yeah, I played it. You can play like one Gaia's Cradle and play a Abundant Harvest to find it. It's kind of gas.
What? That's so funny.
It's not
We're
very
looking
good.
at our. Oh, we're looking at our. Is this our
And
hand
you
or
play
our,
like Lumps of Nature.
is this our seven or are we boarding?
This is our 7. Yeah.
Wait, Rob, is this open deck list in top eight? By the way, do you know? It's not open deck list. Okay, okay. I ask just because it changes the texture of how you play with as Rhinos, especially because if you know they have days, then you play very differently. But if you know they don't have days, you're just spam, just jam. Right, right. I figure they knew what they were on. I just didn't know if they knew the individual deck lists because if I think if Carey knows that Michael does not have days, he can play the game way more aggressively than he would otherwise. Otherwise, you kind of have to respect the days. Open deck list for top eight is trash. I don't know. I'm not really strongly opinionated on the open deck list versus not argument. But I see why people do like it and why people don't. That's one of the few things I don't have a strong opinion on.
Looks like Michael
There's
is
very
leading
few
with
of things I
Flooded
don't have a strong
Strand
opinion on.
Pass.
Yeah, Flooded Strand pass, Volcanic Island pass, fetch on your end step.
And I can surveil on Meticulous Archive probably, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe we can hit another Narcomoeba.
Oh, that's cash money. Are we seeing cash money here? So you've actually played breakfast like a decent amount because I played like one league on it and that was it for me.
I played breakfast at a BCDL before, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there was a time where I really enjoyed it. I just played into like a bunch of ancient tomb decks and it didn't go very well for me, but
Nice.
I think I was 0 and 6 in die rolls and played 5 ancient tomb decks.
0-6 and Dire played 5 Ancient Tomb decks. Doesn't seem like a recipe for success, if
I
you
went
ask me.
3-3 and I'm proud of that. That about summed it up.
Amen. Also, we do see a pending on top that we're thinking about surveilling. I like, obviously, pending kills Rhino, but wait, is that pending?
Yep.
No, that's not prismatic ending, is it? What is that?
Pretty sure it's a really whitewashed prismatic ending.
That's what I think, but it's so whitewashed.
They're all fake.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know, but I can't tell. I think that's prismatic ending. It looks like prismatic
Ooh.
ending. Mystical Dispute your brainstorm. Good play. I like this a lot. I really like these mystical disputes on cantrips. Little punished because there was the second mana drop, though. Because that's really what you're trying to stop when you do that aggressive mystical dispute. Fetch
That's
Scalding Tarn?
probably a little awkward because you're terrified of Teferi, and the Soul Dispute's a pretty good answer to that. But
Yeah, that's the thing. Is if you get the read that you're digging for a land, and obviously the dispute on the brainstorm is pretty brutal. I've definitely lost games because I didn't mystical dispute correctly. I definitely won games because I did mystical dispute the cantrip correctly.
oh,
What are we seeing here? Exile. Oh, Magus
ooh,
of the Moon.
destroy that Urza
That's
Saga.
pretty good.
Oh,
Force of Will pitching to Fairy Time Raveler. 2 for 2 because we did have to exile a Spirit Guide to cast the Magus.
we did get a Teferi out of their hand, which is a
We
good sign
did
that
get it
they're
to
either
Fairy out of their hand.
they're low on blue cards or they have a second Teferi. But
Yeah, and there's only 2 in the deck, right?
yeah,
Yeah. So I think you
so
get the read that they're low on blue cards. But also, like, that could also be bad for you. But also, they could just be holding a ton of, like, nothing. It's like Dread Return, Orm's Chant, Archamoeba, etc. There's a lot of dead draws in this deck.
we didn't discuss how Orm's Chant and Cascade.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
that's another point.
That is another Force of Will. 1 mana Force of Will. Respond to your Cascade trigger.
A good thing they didn't write it like Discovery. You can at least get it in your hand.
That's true.
Just put it on the bottom. Yeah, getting this forest definitely saying we have blood moons in the deck. So there's
Yeah.
only the one Magus, so we wouldn't really
Yeah,
be
we
worried
saw the
about.
Blood Moons when we were doing the Cascade on the first set of Rhinos. I can't imagine he would have taken them out. If he's, I feel like when you bring in Blood Moon like against a deck like this where it's like mid, it's one of those things where it's like you're dedicated to this, so you're probably not boarding it out. Stoneforge, Prismatic Ending, Thassa's Oracle in hand, all of which are like not the greatest, but the Stoneforge is pretty good. And a Cephalid Illusionist, and there is a Shuko. We could win the game here, but we go for Stoneforge instead.
Makes a lot of sense.
Wait, we can't win the game here. No, no, no. You would have to Cabal Therapy your own hand. Cabal Therapy your hand to get Toss's Oracle out so you can Dread Return if we were going to win the game.
Yeah,
You'd have to Cabal Therapy yourself, which is a risky move
yeah.
because you just lose the game immediately. But also, they're most likely forcing the Cephalid Illusions because they're.
So you don't have to mill your whole deck. You can mill down to like 3, and then try and
Oh,
value
hard
cat.
cast the Thassa's
I've
Oracle.
definitely done that
Okay,
before.
that's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
It's risky, but sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do.
Violent Outburst.
Getting
If we, this is unironically Collector Roof would be pretty brutal here.
Another.
There's no
That's
way. I think it's correct to
false.
bring in Collector Roof though.
Yeah, so the benefit of this combo is you don't have to mill the whole deck.
Yeah, you just need to show the whole deck.
So if they disrupt it with or whatever, you can go down to 3.
All right, so we have some Rhinos.
Thankfully, we're still at 18, so we have a few turns as long as we don't just get more rhinos. But
Yeah, I mean, generally, like the violent outburst into a shardless agent little setup is pretty backbreaking, but we do see what's in Michael's hand, which he does have the Cephalid Illusionist to just pop off. We have 2 cards on Carey's side. Frequently, on average, that is going to be a form of counter magic. The thing that we're now playing the odds of is, does Michael have a form of interaction back? And is the counter magic we currently have Force of Will or Force of Negation? If it's Force of Negation, we lose the game. Kind of. Well, not if it's force negation, then you probably Cabal Therapy. We'll see how this plays out. This is interesting because you could just force negation the dread return, but if they assume they go for the Cabal Therapy on themselves,
yeah, this is kind of awkward because it's possible from Darby's standpoint if we're on 2 lands. Shuko is way worse
yeah,
than Nomads on Core because if we had Nomads, we could cast the Cephalid Illusionist and just pass, and then just try and combo off at next turn, or if they have removal, do it at instant speed.
yeah,
But with
yeah,
this setup with Shuko, you kind of have to commit, and that can be a big problem when your mana is not good.
right. I think like because the Thoracle we know is in Michael's hand and we haven't seen a resolved brainstorm yet, it does add a lot of complexity to how he wants to combo off. There is the second blue source.
Going to 9, just not a great life total.
Island.
Violence, interesting. It's better against Blood Moon, which we know, but is worse against Wasteland.
Yeah.
Just
Here
gonna
is Cauldra Complete.
instant
How do you
speed it.
pronounce that?
Complete.
Is it complete or complete? Are
I think it's just complete.
you sure?
It's
Why is there
how
an A there?
I've never been wrong in my life,
Okay. Yep.
ever,
Yep. Why is it pronounced complete if it's spelled compliant?
because it's edgy and
I don't
cool.
know, man. I don't know. It's just some Watsy thing. Thanks, Watsy.
Thank the Phyrexians.
Sure. Thanks, Ella Schnorr, mother of machines. Sorry,
You
machines.
can call her mommy of machines.
The
You're
mommy
really,
of machines.
really missing out here.
The mommy of machines. That's true, dude.
Ooh,
Oh, Fire and Ice. Tap down your Cauldron token. Draw a card.
this is tempo.
This is tap.
This right here,
this
tempo.
is tempo. Now this is tempo.
We're at 8, or we're at 9.
We're at 9.
This is 8. This is pretty scary.
The rhinoceros will crash in. Ice on the stack. I also do appreciate the apocalypse ices. That is Apocalypse, right? That's what that's from. That's where split cards
Pirates?
first came out.
I think so.
I think it's
Are
Apocalypse.
I'm a little. Oh, he's
Force of
something.
Will, pitching Cephalid Illusionist. We're on the
Oh.
Cauldron Beatdown plan, baby. Mystical Dispute, Force of Will. Pretty brutal.
Oh, those mystical disputes were very backbreaking. I guess yeah, you have all 4 in the.
Yeah, and the Force of Will, you go down 1. Mystical Dispute is a very good magic.
Definitely MVP of this match.
Yeah, the Mystical Dispute is pretty brutal.